On today's episode of the Box2box podcast, the guys do the second episode of the mini series that they've just started, which is the best top 5 Premier League players in each position in the Premier League era. On to the podcast we go. Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the off-season mini-series that myself and Rez are doing about the best Premier League players in every position. Last week we covered off goalkeepers. This week we're going to go for centre-backs. Once again, I'm joined by Reza. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, all good.
Good.
Looking forward to this one as well.
Good, yeah.
Do you know what? Like the last one, like goalkeepers, I found this actually quite straightforward.
Yep.
I think it's going to get more difficult the further up the pitch we go.
Yes.
But I found the first two lists. Are we doing fullbacks, by the way?
We will be, yes. I
found that hard so far.
As a sneak preview for everybody, that will be
well,
that will be next week's episode. It will be fullbacks. I don't know whether to do right and left back or do them both at once. I probably will do right back and then a left back one, maybe.
I'm finding it hard enough as it is. Let's do fullback.
Fullback, okay, we'll just do fullback. I had the opposite for centre backs. Mine was even worse than my goalkeeper because as I said, for my goalkeepers, I got a list up of about 7, and I was like, he's not as good as the rest. He's not as good as the rest. And it was easy. I had my top 5. I found myself writing centre backs' names down, and I was at about 11, 12, and I was like, holy fuck, I can't keep going. So I'm just having to keep crossing people's names out. Going, he wasn't as good. He wasn't as good. He wasn't as good. And I finally got to my top 5. I'm quite interested to see what yours is. I'm sure likewise. We'll start with yourself, mate. Who is your number 5?
So, my number 5 is Mr. Man City himself, Vincent Kompany. Unbelievable defender.
Yep.
He massive difference maker. It didn't matter who you put alongside him.
Yep.
He was very, very, very good. I mean, you think that he had the likes of Jolyon Lescott, Nicholas Otamendi next to him, and he still looked solid week in, week out, consistent performer. And obviously, who could forget that goal against Leicester as well?
No, Vinny, no.
The Rocket. and so, yeah, for me, it's him. I think that like I say, the difference he made to that, he was the beginning, basically, of what we're seeing now in this Man City dominance. He really kicked it off. He was the difference maker. He was the first player kind of that came through, and you're like, shit, actually, he's good. And he stayed, obviously, for a long time. And again, he was excellent from the moment he started for them to the moment he left. He was superb throughout. So, yeah, he's my number 5.
Very nice. You can't speak highly enough of Vincent Kompany. Yeah, what a player. Sam, so we'll move on from number 5. So we'll go to number 4. Who was your number 4?
Yeah, so the guy's a massive scumbag. But very, very good defender. Did really well for both England and Chelsea. Like I say, just personality-wise, real piece of shit. There's no two ways about it. I don't care. He's an absolute piece of shit. But as we're rating players here, so it's John Terry.
Fair enough.
My number 4.
Yeah.
I think that the triangle he made, him, Carvalho, and Cech, absolutely incredible. I would love City. I'd love to do a podcast where we've got a couple of United, a couple of Chelsea, a couple of City, and a couple of Liverpool, and I want to hear the Liverpool and City fans argue that their teams were better than the 08, like 06,
07, 08.
07, 08, 09, 10.
Yeah.
that the Chelsea and Man United teams of that era, bullshit. Those teams were unbelievable. And you look at it throughout the entire team, it was just quality, both teams. So yeah, like I say, I don't like him, but as a defender, he was top quality. So John Terry, number 4.
Very nice. Yeah, I think John Terry is going to make a lot of people's lists. Um,
Rightly so.
yeah, as much as he was
So
a
you've got to
shitbag off
kind
the
of
pitch.
overlook. Yeah, you've got to obviously overlook the issues. Obviously, there were the issues when he was really young. Was it with Jody Morris? Was it Jody Morris? Jody Morris? Can't remember. But there were issues off the pitch early on. Um, and then obviously it just carried on. Then you had the whole Anton Ferdinand thing, you had the Wayne Bridge thing. Real scumbag, real
Yeah,
scumbag.
no.
But I I would almost guarantee that he makes probably a good 90+% of everyone's top 5.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I can't. I think he's like the Czech. He's like the banker of the top five. Um, I think yeah. I'll be shocked if people don't put him up there. Anyway. So there you go. That's your number 4. Who's your number 3?
So this is really difficult for me, but I'm gonna go Nemanja.
Nemanja. Whoa.
Yeah.
Nemanja.
um, doesn't need. I don't need to say a lot. He was unbelievable. Just put his body on the line. Solid defender. Um, would generally always turn up. There were a few games. I think this is where his stock kind of drops a little bit. Um, the particular one, the Liverpool game, where Torres scored the
Oh,
hat trick.
yeah.
Um, and he destroyed Vidic that day. They targeted Vidic,
Yeah,
um,
they did.
and he got absolutely turned over. And I felt for him because he didn't deserve that. And I think that the problem was he could be got at. I think that's where he worked as a partnership. Terry was the same for what it's worth. Terry Carvalho, you got, let's say, Ferdinand Vidic, same kind of thing. But yeah, for me, Nemanja Vidic, also got to remember that he came in January. Always difficult, always difficult. And yeah, he was just absolutely fantastic and made, say, probably the best centre back partnership that we've seen in Premier League, the Premier League era, in Ferdinand and Vidic.
Yep.
So yeah, Nemanja Vidic, number 3.
Fair enough. Who is your silver medal?
So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, I'm interested. I'm intrigued to hear your list because obviously there are a lot of players that I've obviously had to admit we both have. Um, but my number 2 is another Chelsea player. Now, who is it then? If I say Chelsea centre back,
Well,
who's it going to
you'd
be?
think Carvalho.
Yeah,
If I'm
yeah.
yeah, I can't really think of
Um,
another player that's at that level.
Absolutely. Again, just quality, all round quality, calm, composure, decent turn of pace. Always covered for John Terry. Again, as a partnership, absolutely superb, both of them. Um, but I just think that he was a better footballer than both Vidic and Terry.
Mhm.
So for that, he's my he's my number 2. And like I say, I think that when you look at that era of the Premier League, those two teams battling it out year on year, it was superb, absolutely unbelievable. And say across the entirety of the pitch, there were just mega battles. So it was a lot of fun to be part of, to be sitting there watching it as a fan of one of the clubs. But yeah, I always envied Chelsea having Carvalho because yeah, he was just something else.
Yeah, he was very good. Right, that does your number 2. I think I know who your number 1 is, but enlighten me. Who's your number 1?
It's Rio.
Big Rio.
Yeah, again, a bit of a scumbag off the pitch, really. um, which is a shame. Never thought it, but then obviously the whole thing with his wife apparently he was cheating on her while she was dying of fucking cancer and shit, scumbag. Um, but as a footballer, incredible defender. He had everything. He was everything that you'd want from a defender. Tall, strong, pacey, skillful, very, very, very good on the ball. He could have played in midfield easily. He could have probably played up front. Um, he was just that good a footballer. And again, it was just the calm, the composure. I remember when we signed him, 18 million, wasn't it, from Leeds? No, it's 30 million from Leeds. Leeds
30
signed him for
million.
18 million.
Yeah, it was a lot more.
Yeah,
It's
Leeds
30
signed him
million.
for 18. Yeah, Leeds signed him for 18. Then we signed him for 30. Yeah, he is the best, in my opinion, the best centre back that the Premier League's seen. Now there are others that obviously I haven't mentioned. I think from you've got the likes of um, obviously like Desai, um, unbelievable. Yap Stam,
Unbelievable.
absolutely incredible. Um, so I've missed a few out, but for me, that's that. I'm standing by my top five.
So everyone, like I said in the previous podcast, everyone has their own opinion when it comes to football. Um, it's the age-old debate of who's your favourite player ever. That's the best thing when you see people's responses, and you see sometimes people are saying Ronaldinho, R9, Cristiano, Messi, Maradona, Pele. Everyone has that one person that is just unbelievable for them, and that's why we view football differently. So that's your five, and yeah, that's how you see the game.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I've obviously left out the likes of obviously your Tony Adams, Sol Campbell,
Mhm.
another big one. So yeah, like I say, there's some that I've had to leave out, unfortunately. But yeah, that's my top five.
Very, very nice, mate. Very nice to hear.
So let's see how similar yours is. Let's go. So number five, you ready?
Yeah, number five is exactly the same as your number five.
Okay.
Vincent Company, there is no way I was doing a top five list where he was not on there. Um, Vincent Company was Mr. Man City. He was. You didn't matter who was next to him. He made them 10 times better. Um, he was ridiculous. He was great on the ball. He was great defensively. He was good pace. He was good in the air. He'd always get you a goal at sometimes. Important times, he'd always get you a goal. A couple of times I remember him scoring goals against us to win City the league. Um, he was ridiculous as a centre back, and I do think that people seem to have forgotten about him very quickly when it comes to the talk of the best centre backs in the Premier League era. It seems like his name sort of swept under the carpet just because it was City, and I think that's a bit harsh. He was in my eyes, yeah, definitely worthy to hit my top five. Um, and it just goes to show what my other four, I believe, are just that much, just a bit better than what he is. Um, but yeah, he was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous as a centre back. And yeah, I can't. It used to pain me so much that it was City that he played for. I'd love to have had him at United. He was unbelievable.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, completely fair. So numero four.
Numero four. This was very difficult for me for my top four. I've actually got Vidic at four.
Okay.
Yeah, Vidic at four. My top four are they're all very, 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 very good centre backs. Vidic was part of in my eyes, part of the best centre back duo in history. If someone said to me who would you want to have as your two centre backs together, I would always say Rio and Vida. I don't think I could ever say another pairing. Obviously, I know you do have Terry Carvalho. You do have sort of Tony Adams. Was it Sol Campbell? It was Tony Adams. It was, wasn't it?
Briefly, yeah.
Briefly, and then
Yeah.
you've got a
Yeah.
couple of others with Yapstam and Jonsson, and Bruce and Pallister, and you've got some few others that and I'm sure there's others that people will say that I haven't said right now that people will say were unbelievable, but I do believe that Vidic was part of the best two centre backs ever. Um, just as when we go for singly, I just believe that there is three other people that I believe that are better than him singly. But when it comes to a partnership, him and Rio were the best.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair.
Um,
Right.
when I see a man that's willing to put his head in where people won't put their feet,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the case.
Bill Jones does it too. Anyways.
I am not. I meant on
So
purpose.
bless him. So go on then, number 3.
Number 3 is actually someone that's not on your list. Yeah, so number 3 for me was actually someone from when I first started to watch football, Tony Adams.
Okay. Yeah, I completely appreciate that.
He was unbelievable for Arsenal. He was everything you wanted in a centre back and more. Singly, he could have pushed 1 and 2 that I have at 1 and 2 quite easily. I also didn't get to see some of the earlier Premier League year stuff that he was there, as I was only sort of 1, 2, 3 years old.
You didn't miss much. It was all George Graham scoring Arsenal 1-0.
But I got to see him from like 97 till when he retired, and he was unbelievable for Arsenal. And he was involved in some unbelievable battles with United. And every single week, and I believe Fergie did try to sign him in sort of 94, I think it was, 95. But he just wasn't going anywhere. He loved Arsenal too much to go anywhere. But yeah, he's my number 3, just in front of Vidic for me. But I thought Tony Adams was unbelievable.
Yeah. No, I cannot. I can't disagree with that at all.
Yeah.
No,
So yeah, there's my number 3.
Cool. Right, so you ready? Your top 2. Let's have it.
Top 2, number 2. I've gone for John Terry.
Yep.
What I've had to do is I've had to get rid of all the off the field stuff. I've just tried to look at the actual footballer themselves. If you put into the off field stuff, then John Terry probably goes down a little bit. But from sort of, you think when Czech arrived and Jose Mourinho arrived, until you sort of think when Jose Mourinho came back, John Terry was in the discussion for best centre back in the league. For all those years in a row, he was unbelievable for him. He was unbelievable for England when he did play for England. There's not much I can really say about John Terry that hasn't been said already by yourself. If you take the off the field out of the way, in my eyes, he deserves to be at 1 or 2. I just believe that my number 1, I believe, is the best centre back that the Premier League's ever seen. So yeah, that's why Terry is at number 2 for me. He was unbelievable, amazing partnership with Carvalho. Same with Terry with Czech as well. That trio as a trio in the Premier League is as good as you're gonna get. Apart from obviously the United one. But yeah, he was an unbelievable footballer, unbelievable centre back, and he did it for a number of years, winning the Premier League a number of times. Slipped to give us the penalty in 08, which was brilliant. Loved him for that. And then yeah, he did manage to win the Champions League in the end. I know he wasn't on the pitch, and he gets the full kit wanker for when he come on with his kit and gets to lift the Champions League trophy, but not many players can say they've won a Champions League trophy in their life, whether they were playing on the day or not. But you think Zlatan hasn't got a chance to say it?
He's just, he like you say. I think you do kind of have to try and overlook all of the off the field stuff because there is too much to. It's difficult to ignore it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He's absolutely superb centre back. Was he the highest goal scoring centre back?
I think
Premier
he
League
was.
history or something.
I think he was
something like that. Yeah, fantastic.
He was perfect for what Jose Mourinho needed. You can bring Carvalho in, and Carvalho is an unbelievable defender. But I found when it was then, you needed a homegrown English centre back that knew the Premier League. And then you could put someone next to him, sort of like you see like what happened with Rio, and he got Vidic next to him. Terry got Carvalho. Um, Jamie Carragher had like Sammy Hoopier sort of thing. So you always had that English centre back with an unbelievable talent from abroad. Um, and John Terry, whatever Jose Mourinho said, I'm sure if Jose Mourinho would have said lie down on the floor, JT probably would have still be there now. He listened to his manager to a T, and that's probably why I've got him at number 2.
Yeah, fair enough. So, I guess it's probably the same as mine, but let's hear it anyway. Number 1.
It's Rio Ferdinand. He
I
is.
thought Virgil van Dijk.
Honestly, I was listing defenders, and I got Van Dijk away. I think he was like number 10 or number 9. I don't understand. I fully get Liverpool have been very, very good since he's come in, and he was a very good for a year. He was probably the best defender in the world. He dropped off massively at Liverpool, and they don't genuinely talk about it at all. And he probably is the best in the world right now, but there isn't that much out there at the moment, and people seem to keep forgetting very quickly the eras that we're talking about and the players that myself and you have mentioned. They all played in the same era, and the strikers that they played against are ridiculous. You think like Van Dijk, what realistically, Van Dijk in the Premier League, who has he got that you're like, that's unbelievable right there? In terms of striker, that is. Who's he got? I can't name
Kane's
one.
probably the best.
I wouldn't.
That's it, isn't it? Really.
I know.
And it's even then. I wouldn't put Harry Kane in the bracket of some of the.
I wouldn't put Harry Kane
Premier
in the
League.
bracket of Wayne Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo, Alan Shearer, Didier Drogba, Luis Suarez. There's a number of strikers that I've just named there, and
Fernando
that's not
Torres,
Fernando Torres. I'm not even thinking
Thierry Henry,
of Thierry Henry.
Dennis
See
Bergkamp.
what I mean? I'm missing all these names off, and
yeah.
these defenders had to deal with these on a week in, week out basis. There's not these strikers anymore. There's not. I'm not saying that Van Dijk is not an unbelievable defender, because he is a very good defender, very, very good. I don't think you can put him as a top 5 in the Premier League era. You just can't. He's won 1 Premier League title. They've bottled it the other years, which they have. They bottled it this year against Spurs. If they beat Spurs, they win the league. Bottled it. Bottled the Champions League. He's only won 1 Champions League because they had played against. That was the worst Champions League final I think I've ever seen as an actual spectator watching Tottenham versus Liverpool. It's like both of them were like, I don't want it, you have it. No, I don't want it, you have it. They were just like,
Spurs were quite fortunate to be in that final.
Like, if Ajax were in that final, Ajax win that.
Yeah.
Ajax win that. They win that year because Liverpool wouldn't have been that good against them. And yeah, I don't think they've bottled quite a lot. As much as we can say how good they've been, they've actually bottled quite a lot if you look at it realistically. They've won 1 Champions League, won 1 Premier League in 4 years. Is it? You don't count Carabao Cup.
He's been there.
Since he's been there, is it 4 years, 5 years?
7 years.
7 years he's been there, and they've won 1 Premier League, 1 Champions League, an FA Cup, and a Carabao Cup. And that's you're talking to me about best defenders in the Premier League. Behave. So that's genuinely what I say to anyone who turns around to me and says Van Dijk is the best defender the Premier League's ever seen.
No, that's fair. But anyways, so back to your best defender.
Back to my best defender. So Rio Ferdinand, you can't say anything about anything different. I can't. There's nothing I can say that you haven't said already. He was unbelievable for Man United. He was an unbelievable defender. His mentality is ridiculous. To constantly just want to win all the time. I saw him having an interview with someone, and they said they were talking to I think it was David Gill, and they said to him what it was like with Rio, and he said that the night of them winning the Champions League in Moscow, he said to David Gill, "Who are we signing to win this again next year?" It's crazy the mentality of him, and want to win a Champions League, to win probably. I'm going to go with he won 6 or 7 Premier Leagues. With a Champions League, I think it's a cup, was it one or two FA Cups and a couple of Carabao Cups? Ridiculous amount. Um, Part of the best trio in Premier League history in my eyes. In Van der Sar, Vidic, and him. Absolutely ridiculous, unbelievable player, unbelievable quality on the ball, off the ball. Was actually for his younger years, he was very, very good in the air, and it just seemed like towards the end of his career, he's sort of leaving it to Vidic, who, as I've already said, Vidic would put his head on anything. You whip a bowling ball into the box, and Vidic will put his head on it and it'll go top corner. Um, but Rio, unbelievable, what a player. Read the game unbelievably. Um, Even when his pace started to go, I discount his season at QPR because he really shouldn't have been there. Um,
No,
if he'd have
he
seen it
was done.
right,
The injuries had caught up with him. I think, because of his attribute, his primary attribute, one of his primary attributes, pace. His pace was fantastic. He's on the ball ability, and as soon as he started to lose that pace, yeah, he should have retired. I think he even said it himself. It was a mistake.
he should have never
But
gone
it's
to there.
hard.
I suppose it must be hard because you think that like you don't want to stop playing football ever. So to be told that it is, it's just I suppose it just gets to the point where you just need to know that it's not there anymore. Um, which maybe might be the reason why some people don't have him as number one, just because of what happened at QPR, and people's memories seem to be the most recent thing that's happened rather than what has happened for years and years and years. Um, so yeah, that's my top five, and that's my number one.
Well, yeah, no, it's just completely fair. I agree. So obviously we both got four in both lists.
Yeah,
The same.
yeah, four in both lists we've done so far is exactly the same, and we've just had one different in both of them. Um, that's a chance for the listeners. Please let us know what your top five is. Let us know if you agree or disagree with any of our lists. Um, it's the beauty of football. It's a game of opinions, and everyone has their own opinion. So please let us know what your top five centre backs of all time in the Premier League era are. And also let us know if you agree or disagree with ours. Thank you very much for listening again. We will be doing fullbacks next, I believe, with myself and Rez, and we'll go through the best fullbacks in the Premier League era. It seems Rez is struggling with five, so we're going to go fullbacks rather than right and left back. So we've got that for the Premier League era. If Cancelo is not number one for you, Rez, I'm genuinely going to be disappointed and upset. If Cancelo's not in there, a minimum of in there, let alone top one or two, yeah, I don't know. Something's not quite right. Yeah, so fullbacks will be next. Please like and follow all our socials. We'll have them on the screen. We'll have them in the description so you can. As I say, comment on there. If you'd like to be on the show with us, we're happy to have a guest with us. If you want to go through a mini-series with us and let us know what your best position it is, so whatever position we're doing, if you want to let us know your best five, then you can more than welcome to come on with us. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll speak to you next time.
Yeah, thank you.